Well, hello, and thank you for joining us on this Monday. I am Rolly Hoyt. Journey Taylor has the night off, and tonight we are keeping an eye on two public meetings taking place, both with big unanswered questions for people in their communities. Let's start in Wrightsville. This meeting just getting started, and it's focused on data centers. Leasing company Avio says they want to continue conversations with the city just south of Little Rock. There has been vocal opposition to plans to build a large facility there, and the company has skipped some previous meetings. Meanwhile, down the highway in Jefferson County, the Quorum Court set to meet with not only a stacked agenda, but a new interim judge. After the retirement of Gerald Robinson, Ivan Whitfield took over July 1st, and tonight he'll read through 26 ordinances ranging from elections to employee compensation. Most of these are on their second reading, which means they could get closer to final approval. Then here in Little Rock, there's a social media uprising with a surprising boycott target. Neighbors want to pressure a Little Rock gas station frequently at the center of crime and violence. THV 11's Tamer Knight caught up with workers and the owner to get their response.
I don't see why they wanted to get it shut down, though. But like I said, I understand there's a lot of stuff happening up here. But they still, I always get good service up here.
As of Monday, Super Galleria on Asher Avenue continues operating as usual, even as some on social media call for a boycott of the Little Rock gas station.
There's be too much going on up here, straight up. And like people be scared to come up here.
The calls for a boycott follow multiple reports of shootings, fights, and large crowds in the area.
Man, I seen a whole lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, going on, shootings, all this old fighting up here and everything.
Store manager Steve Murthy is now speaking out on behalf of the business.
It's not one people or two people. The crowd is so huge that I don't think we personally can handle that crowd,
Murthy says it's unfair to place blame on a single business, adding the problems extend beyond his parking lot.
It's not about the only one business or not on the one store, but they are all over on Asher.
He also says he and his employees fear what can happen on Friday and Saturday nights.
We are also scared to go outside and tell people, leave the parking lot. So we try to avoid going outside at nighttime when people are already drunk and, very aggressive.
According to Little Rock Police, officers responded to this location 71 times in the last 6 months. Those calls include a recent shooting that left one person dead and a juvenile injured. One man who has worked at Kaufman Lumber for more than 30 years says he's witnessed many of the same problems.
They need a bigger police presence here. People kind of do what they want to do. I've worked at Kaufman for years. And I'm going to tell you, it's rough over here.
Murthy says he's willing to do whatever it takes to serve the Asher community. He adds he's working with local law enforcement to increase patrol around the store. In Little Rock, Tamer Knight, THV 11 News.
Tamer, thank you. Meteorologist Nathan Scott joining me now as we come off a wild weekend of storms. My trip back up from where I was spending vacation involved getting around a shelf, what I think was a shelf cloud. I'll show you the picture later. And my wife driving within reasonable speeds to get around this and turn the corner to head towards Little Rock because it looked like it was barreling down on us. And how much more of this are we going to be looking at as we go through this week?
Well, we certainly had to deal with some sour weather out there, especially on Saturday. As expected, storms developed along a frontal boundary, made their way from north central Arkansas into central Arkansas. Out there today, though, we've seen a reprieve from the widespread shower and thunderstorm activity. It's just been a typical hot July day. Temperatures 90 in Little Rock, feels like 94, feels like 102. That's a hot spot in Arkadelphia, but it's 77 in DeQueen, and it's 88 in West Memphis. Now, here is the radar loop. Most of the shower and thunderstorm activity is going to be focused along the frontal boundary, which is draped across southwest Arkansas and South Arkansas. So you see the storms here, Nevada County, extending into Columbia County, Union County, also a few showers trying to develop over towards Calhoun County and Bradley County, and then one lone downpour just on the outside of Pine Bluff. So that is making its way over Pine Bluff probably in the next 15 to 30 minutes. And then more showers and thunderstorms in this part of the country, in the central and southern Appalachians. This is our next system that will be pinwheeling across Tennessee into Arkansas as we go into your Tuesday, but especially into Wednesday. So sunshine will fade away throughout the day on Tuesday with the opportunity of scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially for East Arkansas later in the day. Before the clouds arrive, temperatures climbing up into the upper 80s to lower 90s. I'll have more on your Tuesday and Wednesday forecasts coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. Tonight, we're continuing our coverage on the sudden death of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Flags at half-staff outside the White House and U.S. Capitol today, mourning his loss. And reactions continue to come in from all over, including from a few Arkansas officials. Senator Tom Cotton, a colleague in the Senate, calling him a self-made man and a great champion for our military, troops, and national security, calling him a true patriot who never stopped working for his state and country. And then we got this statement from Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who called him one of our finest senators who fought for what he knew was right, quote unquote. She worked with Senator Graham back in 2018 to get Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh confirmed while she worked as press secretary in President Trump's first term. Also over the weekend, Representative French Hill back in town to celebrate a new housing bill that he co-sponsored and that he hopes will make housing more affordable. The law removes regulatory barriers to encourage increases in the housing supply, and it puts limits on institutional investors buying up single-family homes in one spot. It also supports housing opportunities for veterans and gives aid to local governments to create affordable housing.
This bill is a practical solution to one of the most pressing, challenging arenas that we have in the country. It demonstrates what Congress can accomplish when we focus on solving problems for the American people instead of scoring political points.
Representative Hill points to the average age of first-time homeowners getting older. It's 40 years right now. That's up 7 years from where it stood just 5 years ago. Later this week, the House could pass another bill, this one to make daylight saving time permanent. Now, officials haven't said exactly when they expect to vote, but when they do, it could end the annual or semi-annual back and forth that we go through in the fall and spring. Back in 2022, the Senate passed a similar bill, but a vote never took place in the House. Well, the finish line may be in sight, but questions are still racing around. It's for the funding for the Arkansas Senior Olympics. Just weeks after the program lost its state money, a big check landed in their account, all after athletes and at least one lawmaker cried foul. Tonight, TV 11's Tanya Motorzitsky explains what changed.
A victory for Arkansas seniors.
We are getting our funding from DHS this year that's going to allow us to hold our games.
After public backlash and vocal state lawmakers, the Arkansas Department of Human Services restored $70,000 for Senior Olympics.
Better late than never.
I told you last month how just 2 weeks before the start of the fiscal year, money the Senior Olympics was promised back in March was suddenly pulled from under them. But as of last week, Greg Ebert, CEO of Arkansas Senior Olympics, says DHS reinstated the money and they expect to get it in September.
We don't know why. It's just delayed payment.
While he is breathing a sigh of relief, one of the Senior Olympics cheerleaders making sure they get funded is Senator Kim Hammer, who's also running for Secretary of State.
DHS is up against the wall because of the growing demand in other areas that their budget requires to meet, whether it's the food for the senior adult centers or just helping in other areas.
In a statement, DHS says it identified available funding to support the Senior Olympics at the same level it was funded last fiscal year. While questions are swirling about the state's more than $600 million surplus and if those funds can be spent to help, Hammer says that money is in the bank in case federal bucks are cut.
We have to be financially nimble enough to move in the event that the Fed should cut off funding.
Ebert is just happy to keep an important program in the race for healthy Arkansans.
We are a health organization first, and we happen to put on sports, and keeping people active and healthy and giving them competition and make new friendships.
In Little Rock, Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
All right, Tanya, thank you. And Senator Hammer says there is a meeting August 11th that the Area Agency of Aging is set to discuss budgets and issues. As for the Senior Olympics, if you're interested in volunteering or competing, we've got that information right now on THV11.com. Well, more than $12.5 million is set to go to big and small cities across the state, 88 in fact. 32 of them going toward public infrastructure and facilities. Another 56 will support rural projects like firefighting gear and public spaces. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the money will bring neighbors together and improve quality of life. Well, another infrastructure announcement coming today, this one in Pulaski County. The board of the Woodson Levee District says they've got a $3 million grant to help fund improvements. This money is going to come from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and the project will focus on repairing broken down floodgates. They also plan to remove trees and vegetation growing on the levee, all in the hopes of shoring up the flood protection with some important neighborhoods and businesses on the dry side right now.
It means protecting families and their homes. It means protecting businesses, farmland, and the infrastructure that helps our community grow and thrive.
This is a game changer for us, if you will. And the truth remains just as relevant today, that if you want a community to prosper, you have to invest in the infrastructure.
The money's there, but no start date yet. The three-person levee board will work with Pulaski County engineers and contractors to come up with a timeline. Coming up, a frightening cancer diagnosis turned into a story of hope for one Arkansas man. We'll show you the new treatment options helping change what's possible for blood cancer patients. It's coming up after the break. Nathan?
Expect clouds to move in from east to west throughout your Tuesday. The chance of a spotty shower or thunderstorm, especially in East Arkansas. But then everybody will have the opportunity of rain and thunder on Wednesday before things dry out. Thursday, temperatures back up into the low 90s. I'll have your complete 7-day forecast coming up.